So the hand, in service to the mouth, nourishes the entire body. The hand is useful to serve the mouth. So we find our service and we find our significance. The hand has a significance to the body. The carburetor is a service to the car. The key to the typewriter has a service to the computer or the typewriter. And we have our service and relationship to God.
Live
And
from
that's
Super
where
Soul
we
Farm,
find
it's
our
Wisdom and the
richness,
Sages,
our joy,
a Bhakti
our
Yoga
connection.
podcast with your host Raghunath.
I
doing
want
the
every
episode
day to
solo
know
again
what
with
my
Miss
purpose is.
Mera,
I want a
aka
purpose-driven
Dasi.
life.
Welcome to
in
the
service
show.
of divinity.
It's Wednesday, November 19th.
Oh,
It's episode 1698. Good morning. Beautiful.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Which, be the first one to join. I just started it 5 minutes before the show. Here's the link on the board. Start joining if you're listening to this live.
How do people find it if they want to join and they don't have the link on Zoom?
How do you do that?
I think you go to WhatsApp and you just search.
Yeah, the channel's simple. It's called Ray Raghunath Capo. Ray Raghunath Capo. And I wrote a little good, what did I write about it? View channel. Let me see what I wrote.
Here you go.
Here's what I said about the channel. I love Bhakti Yoga. This is the subtitle. I love Bhakti Yoga, Kirtan, sacred study, and of course, the stories and philosophy of the ancient world. Oftentimes, I've seen students struggle with what's ideal and what's real. How do I apply this high ideal to my life? This channel will make Bhakti Yoga applicable and accessible for the rest of us dented cans so we can have more joy, peace, and divinity in our lives. What do you think about that, Mera?
Love it. That's great.
All right.
I need more joy, peace, and divinity in my life.
Yeah, well, you invited me into your life so you can cut off peace. But I'll make you laugh. Hey, guess what? Because Duba's not here. You got to get your beautiful little mug in the camera.
Do I?
Yes, you do. No more knitting for you. And we're going to start off this channel with a study of the Bhakti Rasa, or the nectar of the devotion, the nectar of instruction. And then we're going with me and Arjuna's course From Broken to Bhava.
I like that title.
From Broken to Bhava, which is untying the knots of the past so we can move forward. Any announcements, my dear?
No, I don't.
What do you think about, anyway, I'm going to get into it. We have a very, very sick sheep here.
Yeah.
Our sheep are getting old, and we're nursing one in the garage right now.
We've been like syringe feeding it electrolyte water for the last, basically since we got back home.
Yeah, and it's not good when they go down because they can't get back up. So we have vets coming over, and it's one of these things. It's like the end of life things. And someone even wrote it in a question about this. What do you do at the end of life? You know, do you have this mercy kill, or do you let them live and you be with them as they die? Like, I don't know. Even in my own life, I was like,
this is a common question that people write in about.
I don't know the answer to it, truthfully.
Yeah.
I sort of like want to be put out of my pain. If I'm in extreme pain, I give you license to kill me. like I don't want to be in excruciating pain, and I don't think I'm going to even be able to chant the holy name properly if I'm in excruciating pain. So it's this interesting balance, and I don't know the answer, but these are the things we're like sort of wrestling with right now at the farm. But me and my son sprayed the sheep with Ganges water yesterday. We did that. And offered it some prasad. Yes.
It might make a recovery. We'll see what the vet has to say today.
Yeah, see what the vet.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Should we dive into our nugget?
Sure. Do you have announcements, or is that it?
No, but we're closing registration for all of our programs at Govardhan Eco Village this December 31st through January 23rd, which is Light on Wisdom, 203-hour yoga teacher training, Mridanga school, Kirtan school. All of that's closing like today. So if you reached out and you haven't like put down a deposit, you need to do that today, right now, or reach out to me or Krishna Mai is doing the registration for the Light on Wisdom.
Okay. All right. So you can go to my website, Raghunath.yoga, for everyone except the Light on Wisdom. Okay. Let's get into our nugget, madam.
All right. It's fine. Nugget. Who's today's nugget come from?
Our nugget comes from, he's very popular. His name is Unknown. He must have been some sage or something.
Yeah, he's written all that. Right up there with Anonymous.
Oh, Anonymous. He's like all over the place.
All right. So today's nugget: pride invites humiliation, while humility invites respect.
Pride.
So pride invites humiliation, while humility invites respect.
Pride invites humiliation, while humility invites respect. You know, I was thinking of this, meditating on this nugget. And then I was thinking, oh, yeah, I'm trying to think of these proud people, because we're obviously reading the story about Brahma, who is the supreme controller of the material universe. Practically speaking, he's God. What a Christian, perhaps a Judeo-Christian culture would call God. You know, he's creator of the universe. But in the very, very detailed explanation of the beginnings of the universe in the Vedic thought, Brahma merely creates, and the creation was outsourced to him by actual God, the source, Lord Vishnu. But I was thinking, well, what are stories of humiliating people? I was thinking of like UFC fighters who are arrogant and then they get beat. That's a popular one. Or other people who are in like this very high position and they're very arrogant. That's one. And then I was thinking, wait, I don't have to stray very far to find out examples of arrogant people falling down, because I'm an arrogant person. Uh-oh. This is like, and I had my world collapse on me once in this pilgrimage. And I just like share with you guys because I like to posture myself as above it all, but I am not above anything. And this arrogance and this self-centeredness is something that it almost seems like it's woven like a thread into the big rope of our existence. And no matter what we do, it's almost like we can't beat it. We can't fully, extricate it from our being. But it's a beautiful process, Bhakti, because in Bhakti, we have this opportunity, instead of becoming bitter from our losses, from our humiliation, from our pain, from our past choices, from our making a jackass out of ourselves, we grow from it, and we think, you know what? Okay, I needed that. So here was my story. And
tell us.
I don't know if you remember this particular one, but so we were at one of my favorite places in India, and it's right on the bank of the Ganga. It's north of Rishikesh, about 5 or 6 kilometers, and you have to walk down a long hill, and you get to the banks of the river. There's an ashram, and this is called Vashist Guha, or Gufa, which is like a cave. And it's where Vashista, they said, had his cave that he would meditate, and this Shiva deity that he worshipped. So you go into this cave. It's very, it's very cool. It's very, it's a long, you got to duck down a little bit, but it's a long, big cave. You walk in. It's very quiet, very peaceful. Bring all the students in there every year. Then I give a little satsang outside. And then we go bathe in this breathtaking part of the Ganga. And people are offering prayers, and it's like one of my favorite places to go in the world. Like that, the day that we do that every year is just like one of my special days. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's a real special energy in that cave too, and that spot on the Ganga is just like, it's so peaceful and beautiful.
The mountain, the backdrop of the mountains. There's a footbridge in the distance. You don't see any other structures around except this ashram, and everybody who goes there, practically speaking, goes, I would love to retire in this humble ashram. That's like the mood you go. So anyway, now it's filled with both like Western tourists coming with a group, actual full-on tourists. It's filled with some, spiritual Westerners coming. It's filled with like India pilgrims coming. is filled with people who are, not just people part of that ashram, just people coming to check it out. It's like, in one sense, it's famous for sightseeing because it's a unique place. And I'm sitting down there, and I'm giving a class to all the students about my favorite place, about, the stories of Vashishta. And I figured, usually I tell the story of Vashishta and Shantanu in the beginnings of the Mahabharata and how he was cursed, how Vashishta cursed the Vayus to take the Vasus rather to take birth on earth. And I think this time I went into the Yoga Vashishta, which is and told the story, which is very similar to the story of Buddha, where Ram wanted to go on pilgrimage. And he wanted to go on pilgrimage. And in that pilgrimage, he saw the first time, in one sense, like he really left the palace, he saw people dying. And he saw people suffering. And he saw people, a funeral pyre. And he came back incredibly changed. Like, and his father, Dasratha, was like, "You're different. What happened to you? Is something wrong?" And he's, "No, I've just had a chance to really examine life." And Ram developed this type of gravity. So I'm sitting with the students. It can't be more picture perfect. There's tropical trees, the rivers in the background, the Ganges. And there's like, and now I have a tour organizer named Mukesh. He's become one of my best friends. And he is like the embodiment of sweetness. I don't think he would call himself a Vaishnava, a devotee of Lord Vishnu, but he's into Vedic culture, and he loves Bhakti.
And he embodies all the good qualities of a devotee.
And he embodies all the good qualities of the devotee that I want. He's
Yeah.
just incredibly humble, incredibly soft-hearted, and very beautiful. And
always ready to serve, always has a good attitude about it. It's like he's sweet.
he doesn't dress like a Vaishnava. He doesn't wear dhotis. He wears like hiking boots. But ever since pilgrimage, I think he's had because he just brings people around, just tours and tourists. And so when we first met, he just like burst into Bhakti mode. So anyway, he's watching me give the class. And, he's like an attentive student/friend. And as I'm giving class, there's some other Indians who come by and they sit with us and they give class and they nod and they smile. And sometimes they are very like religious people. And sometimes they're just like teenagers taking selfies and stuff like that with, white people in the background. So after class, I thought it was a pretty good class. I'm proud of myself. I go down to the rocks. Everybody's bathing. And Mukesh is sort of sitting behind me, and I'm sitting there. And one of the Indian guys, probably about 40, wearing sort of like, very, Western clothes. Didn't look like a holy person, just looked like a tourist himself. Came up to me, put his arm on my shoulder. "Hey, thanks for speaking to the group, but you got the story all wrong. That wasn't Ram. That was Buddha." And and he just sort of caught me off guard because he was sitting there in one sense like a student, and now he's coming over correcting me. And there was a bunch of my students around too, and I was just like, "No, it's another story." He goes, "No. Your story was absolutely wrong. The story, what you wanted to say, was a Buddha." And even before I could even like decipher, like he's trying to like correct me in front of everybody right now. He's like, "No, they're the same. It's a similar story, but with different players." Like, I know what I'm talking about, but I just couldn't get the words out. I was just so like dumbfounded. And I was just like, "No, it's," and I just, instead of just like defending myself, I just said, "No, it was Ram." And he goes, "No, it wasn't Ram. You've got the story all wrong." And he goes, "But you did very well." He patted me on the shoulder and walked away. And I like, I was so angry and humiliated by this guy. And then he went over and started talking to Mukesh. And I was just sitting there and I was just like, "Okay, everybody bathe." And we were all chanting the Ganga Stotram after that. So we all started chanting the prayers to Mother Ganga. And during the entire, instead of getting focused at the most beautiful place, pristine place, I was so infuriated out of this arrogant Indian guy who himself maybe never even went to the Ganges himself, and just like has some like background story. Like everybody knows a story of Buddha leaving the kingdom. This is a different story. It's the same story. It's a similar story, but it's a different story. And so I was just like so bent, like, how dare he? Doesn't he understand who I am? Like, why? And then it started going to a cultural thing. Like, what kind of cultured guy is this that he would come and instruct a teacher in front of the students? What kind of culture is this? And I just like built this thing into a massive, like, this guy. And I couldn't get out of my own way. So I did what I should have done. I went right up to Mukesh and I go, did you see the arrogance of this guy? Mukesh just looked at me and he goes, yes, Prabhu. He is, because that's how Mukesh talks. Yes, Prabhu. Oh, he was so arrogant. I said, didn't he understand? It was a different story. It was the story of Lord Ram from the Yoga Vashista. And I couldn't just get the words out of my mouth. He was just so arrogant. And he just, in front of everybody, and he patted me on the shoulder like a child. I'm like probably 20 years older than him. And they just walked away. Like, and he goes, yes, yes, yes. And you should hear what he said to me. He said, I don't know why you let these Westerners speak. They're so confused. Obviously, you've trained him. Like he was speaking to Mukesh like Mukesh was my teacher. And he said, obviously, you've trained him, but he just can't retain the intelligence. And I was just like, he said that, and that like flipped me even over the edge. He said, but someone like you is very much more intelligent than him. You should educate him. And so before my anger peaked to like 101 there, 103,
Yeah.
Mukesh said, Mukesh, he goes, yes, Mukesh said, yes, he's such a fool. But I just said, oh, he said, well, you are the wise one. We know much. Don't look at me as the teacher. I'm just like an 8th grade dropout. I just manage tours. We know nothing. You know all these things, but you should be teaching these things. And then I was like, oh, wow, you didn't get angry at all. You just diffused the entire thing. And this reminds me of the famous story of Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya was besides being the avatar, he's Lord Krishna himself. He was also, and if you don't believe he was Lord Krishna himself, historically, everyone will accept that he was a child prodigy. He was a genius. So even if you don't accept Lord Chaitanya, we accept him as he is Lord Krishna himself. He was a young pundit who was undefeatable in the world. And he lived on the banks of the Ganges in the center of learning, which was Navadvip. And he had all these students at a young age. And people would come and hear from him. And because the cricket or soccer, football of the time, the sport that they liked to play was debate, one of the great debaters went to challenge him. And he was so full of himself, because what happens when you're really smart, or what happens when you're really beautiful, or what happens when you're really wealthy, or what happens when you're really got your act together? Pride follows us like a tail, like a monkey's tail, and we become like a little monkey. And so this Digvijay, his name was, Digvijay means just he was unconquerable in all the directions. He came and challenged young Nimai Pandit, young Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, instead of getting offended, like if someone like I did, Lord Chaitanya did exactly, in one sense, what Mukesh did. He said, oh, well, you are the great Digvijay. We are so honored that you're here. And he just sort of blew wind in his sails, which made him even more arrogant. And he said, yeah, well, we don't want to challenge you. You're the great Digvijay. Why don't you just enlighten us and tell us the glories of Mother Ganga? And the Digvijay felt his ego being stroked and just whipped out 100 verses without like thinking about it. Just these beautiful verses just flowed out of his lips. Now, the interesting thing in bhakti is when we are teachers, and a lot of us listening to this program, you're teachers. You're either yoga teachers or you like what you hear and you share it with others. That means you're a teacher. And some of us are very intelligent, and some of us are sort of know a lot about yoga culture. And some of us are very charming or entertaining, and we use our charm and entertainment to share what we know in our education, what we know. The problem is, no matter how charming I am, or no matter how smart I am, or no matter how educated I am, there is a limit, a ceiling of how much I can give another person, because my charm is only, my academia and my charm only goes so high. But when you have humility, then Krishna, God, tags you to speak through your body. What do you think about that, Pranpriya? Don't just say yes. I want you to actually think about this stuff.
When we have humility, Krishna tags us to use us in his service.
Yeah. Do you find that in yourself? Get your
no,
little
I don't.
face.
I don't
You don't find that?
myself, but I see it happen with you on a regular basis.
Fine.
No,
You've never you feel like God is speaking through you. Like you don't even know the next words coming out of your mouth and Krishna gives you something to share. You haven't shared something with somebody and you're like,
I don't know where that. Yeah, I guess
I don't know
on
where that
occasion.
came
I don't know where that came from. That's, yeah.
because I find in my life that like I don't even know where I got that from. It was somewhere, but Krishna like just allows you to share something that you don't even know where you got it from sometime. And so that's the beauty of bhakti, is that you don't have to be this great articulate guru. You just have to have some type of humility, and Krishna will use your body to share a beautiful message. That's what I noticed. And I can say that in my own life, when we have that surrender in our heart, Krishna, and I approach it in a humble way, there will be certain people out there that Krishna will bring into my life, that speak my language, that talk to me. That's why all these in the very beginning of me and Kaustubha's bhakti, it was weird because it's not like we heard from so many great souls. We heard from other punk kids who got a little bit more into bhakti. And we feel like because they were sort of enthusiastic about bhakti, Krishna said, okay, these guys respect them. I'm going to use this person as my vehicle. And that's called your Vartma production of gurus, the people that came to you and that tagged you and turned you onto Krishna and turned you and changed your heart somehow. So in that same way, that because of that arrogance, he could only give academia, the Digvijay, right? Keshava Kashmiri. He could only give his great and it was incredible academia. But young Nimai said that was really, really almost perfect. Imagine like that was like what you just did, glorifying the Ganga, just like having a whip out of your mouth. That was practically speaking perfect. Now, when he said
Except
practically
for
speaking,
a few errors.
for a couple of errors, and the Digvijay was like, "How dare you? You found an error in my that thing was perfect. Didn't you see how I did that?" And Lord Chaitanya very expertly like broke his whole prayers apart and just showed in a very humble and loving way how things went wrong, like how he'd used the wrong poetic devices, or there was some flaws in the philosophy if it was read the wrong way. And he pointed it out, and just the fact that he could remember what went wrong showed that his intelligence was greater than the great pundits. And he said, but Lord Chaitanya did it with such grace and beauty. The same way Mukesh said it to this person. He said, no, I'm just a boy. I know nothing. It was you. Why don't you go back and think about it and come back tomorrow? We'd love to hear from you. And of course, when he went back, he had this dream, and Saraswati, the goddess of learning, who was his worshipable deity, came to him and said, don't you understand, you fool? That was my master. That is the Supreme Lord. Saraswati said, that is my master. You've offended my master with your arrogance. And so the next day he went back, humbled, and beautiful in that sense. Good
It's a
story.
great story.
Great story.
All right, should we dive into the Bhagavatam?
Yes.
Okay. You want to chant the...
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshvabhadresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhakti bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timaradasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Reading from Canto 10, Chapter 13, Text 61.
It's embarrassing to share these stories, by the way. I hope I hope you still can respect me after sharing. But you know what? After hearing that and after having my ego smashed a little, I feel like, you know what? This is a beautiful thing. I need this on a regular basis. And the fact is, to the degree that I got ego and to the degree that I'm sincere, Krishna will keep on removing the false foundations, my false securities. And sometimes I take security in my ability to entertain, or security in some wealth or some intelligence or some beauty or something. He'll take that away from us until we're standing alone, naked with God. And I see it as I'm getting older, because I needed a photo for, this is just like such a classic Raghunath. It's just like, I needed a photo for this WhatsApp channel that I'm doing. And I couldn't find one. I was just like, Mera, just take a photo of me. Put it on, use my phone. I got a better phone than you. Take it on a portrait mode and just take a photo. Here's my picture. Takes a photo. A bad backdrop. Then okay. All right. I was blanking. Okay. I wasn't smiling. Take it again. Take it again. Take it again. Then I just got to this point. I was like, I get it. This is my face. This is just, there's not a problem with the camera. There's not a problem with the backdrop. It's just my face. I'm just getting older. This is just how my face looks in reality. I just don't like the way my face looks. And this is just what I'm dealing with. And I think I have just a better idea of what I look like in, than what reality is. So anyway, that is just how this beautiful world works. We either grow from this stuff, we either become better, or we become bitter. And it's very easy to become bitter as we age, because the joints don't work that as well. I can't do all those great yoga poses I used to do, right? Me and Lori Pag on this trip, and Zeb's still in his young, healthy body, but me and Lori are aging, and, we can't do the poses we used to do. I used to be able to do ridiculous amounts of poses, and just the body slows down a little bit, or tightens up, or you get some aggravated injury.
Well, you know what Tarun said to me yesterday morning? Did I tell you this? He said to me when he woke up, he said, "Oh, are you wearing mascara?"
Oh, that's sweet.
That's what I was thinking. I was
Must
like,
think,
like my eyes must look nice today.
You
You
do
know,
have
so I'm thinking,
You
and
do
he's
have
like,
nice eyes.
and so I said, "No, I'm not." And he's like looking at me, studying my face, and he's like, "Your eyes look different today."
Is that why you had hands on your face yesterday morning?
Yeah. And he's like looking so closely at my eyes, examining them. Then he says, "Oh, I think it's just the bags under your eyes are really dark today." He's like, "Oh, all right, you're correct."
It's not
Thanks.
mascara. It's your dark bags.
Yeah. I thought I was going to get a compliment out of this.
Yeah. That's another beauty of aging, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's another beauty of aging. I'm not saying neglect the body, not care for the body. I'm not saying age is, mental. Yeah, I get all that too. But we lose everything also. We lose stuff as we age. And I'm seeing it happen to my poor sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway,
let's get
Then Lord Brahma saw the absolute truth, who is one without a second, who possesses full knowledge, and who is unlimited, assuming the role of a child in a family of cowherd men. and standing alone, all alone, just as before, with a morsel of food in his hands, searching everywhere for the calves and his cowherd friends. He was just in this magnificent form, and now he's returned to this little, like, puny form in the eyes of Brahma. You want to read the purport, Prabhu?
Sure. The word agata bodham, meaning full of unlimited knowledge, is significant in this verse. The Lord's knowledge is unlimited, and therefore one cannot touch where it ends, just as one cannot measure the ocean. What is the extent of our intelligence in comparison to the vast expanse of water in the ocean? On my passage to America, how insignificant the ship was, like a matchbox in the midst of the ocean. Krishna's intelligence resembles the ocean, for one cannot imagine how vast it is. The best course, therefore, is to surrender to Krishna. Don't try to measure Krishna.
That's
Wow,
that's a great line, huh?
Yeah.
On my passage to America, how insignificant the ship was, like a matchbox in the midst of the ocean.
Yeah.
There's something powerful about looking at the ocean. Looking at the stars, looking at the Grand Canyon, looking at just endless fields that go on forever. It's humbling, and it recalibrates our
importance in this world.
Self-importance, our arrogance. I find this especially like with the stars, because you realize I know nothing. All I know is I know so little. Okay.
All right. Shall I continue?
Sure.
The word advayam, meaning one without a second, is also significant because Brahma was overcast by Krishna's Maya. He was thinking himself the supreme. In the material world, everyone thinks, I am the best man in this world. I know everything. One thinks, why should I read Bhagavad Gita? I know everything. I have my own interpretation. Brahma, however, was able to understand that the Supreme Personality is Krishna.
It's hard to distribute Bhagavad Gita sometimes in India because people say, I am knowing the Gita. I know, yes, the Gita, the Gita, the Gita.
Yeah.
Go on.
Ishvara Parama Krishna. Another of Krishna's name, therefore, is Parameshvar. Now Brahma saw Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, not demonstrating his opulence, but standing, just like an innocent boy with some food in his hand, loitering with his cowherd boyfriends, calves, and cows. Brahma did not see Krishna as Chatur Bhuj, the opulent Narayan. Rather, he simply saw an innocent boy. Nonetheless, he could understand that although Krishna was not demonstrating his power, he was the same Supreme Person. People generally do not appreciate someone unless he shows something wonderful. But here, although Krishna did not manifest anything wonderful, Brahma could understand that the same wonderful person was present like an ordinary child, although he was the master of the whole creation.
Yeah, Krishna, out of all these deities, Brahma rides a swan,
Indra had by Ravata.
Krishna, Indra rides a giant four-tusked elephant. Shiva rides a bull. Krishna piggybacks on his friend's shoulders. Krishna doesn't look like he is the star. Krishna looks like a messy little boy.
Yeah.
When he's in his Brahmā-vimohana-līlā, he's like a little messy boy. He doesn't have this magnificent crown. He has feathers in his hair, like kids picking up feathers. He's got handful of food. Like he's messy. Krishna's messy. I can relate to him. He's the messy God. He's the silly God. He's the playful God. He's the naughty God. And so he's not Chatur Bhuj. He's not standing there with, if you saw a person walking down with a gold outfit or a diamond outfit, beautiful flower garland and 4 arms, you'd be like, who the heck is this? But Krishna, 2-armed Krishna, little boy, not so intimidating, wearing messy clothes. He's very approachable because he's like God way off duty.
Yeah. Okay. Thus Brahma prayed, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. You are the original person, the cause of everything. I bow down to you. This was his realization. Tamaham Bhajami. This is what is wanted. Vedeshu Durlabham. One cannot reach Krishna merely by Vedic knowledge. Adurlabham atma bhakto. But when one becomes a devotee, then one can realize him.
Isn't that a great line?
Mm.
Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. So from studying the Vedas, very difficult to know Krishna. It seems like, well, how do you know him then? You can't just study and understand God? Nope, that's not. Is adurla, but is not difficult. Adurlabham through devotion of the soul. That's so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I wish Christians weren't so locked in Christ as the only way, because they could understand this.
Yeah.
That love of God is only done through the heart.
All right. Brahma, therefore, became a devotee. In the beginning, he was proud of being Brahma, the Lord of the universe. But now he understood, here is the Lord of the universe. I am simply an insignificant agent. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna was playing like a dramatic actor. Because Brahma had some false prestige, thinking that he had some power, Krishna showed him his real position. A similar incident occurred when Brahma went to see Krishna in Dwarka. When Krishna's doorman informed Lord Krishna that Lord Brahma had arrived, Krishna responded, "Which Brahma? Ask him, which Brahma?"
How humiliating.
Yeah.
It's like, here I'm the Lord of the universe. And you think, well, I'm your head manager of this universe. I'm respecting that, you have a doorman. I have to wait at the door. I get it. And then but still Brahma, to shave down Brahma's pride, he said, which Brahma? Like, there's other universes?
The doorman relayed this question, and Brahma was astonished. Is there another Brahma besides me, he thought? When the doorman informed Lord Krishna, it is four-headed Brahma. Lord Krishna said, "Oh, four-headed, call others, show him." This is Krishna's position. For Krishna, the four-headed Brahma is insignificant, to say nothing of four-headed scientists.
Okay, I just want to butt in here first. When I started a shelter, I asked Shamarani, because she was living in, or I can't remember. I was in Brooklyn, and she was living in Brooklyn. She's the famous artist. And I said, I'm thinking about doing a band like I used to do a band before I was a devotee. And she said, I said, but I'm really worried because, arrogance is such a big thing and our ego is a big thing. What do I do with this? And she said, it doesn't matter if you are in a band your size or a bigger band or an even big full auditorium band, or if you're just down in the kitchen mopping the floor. Everybody thinks they are important. And the person's doing something very insignificant. They think, oh, I'm doing the menial service. I am so evolved because I'm doing the menial service. That ego is so haunting. And I will say that to the degree that I'm Krishna conscious, the fever of my ego will go down. To the degree that I'm in Maya, the fever of my ego will diminish. I remember that when I was really, because I've shared it with you, but I struggled for a few years as a devotee. After I'd already been a devotee, initiated, been in stuff like that, just sort of like just trying to find my step in the material world. I went through probably 3 years of very difficult time. And I remember Henry, because he's listening to the show right now. I might as well mention Henry. And I remember being with him, and I was just so arrogant. I was still doing music, and my bands were getting bigger at the time, but I was arrogant. And I tell you, Henry, he was tolerant, compassionate, and loving. He didn't say, "Why are you so arrogant all of a sudden?" He wasn't like that. He was like how a devotee is supposed to act. And we were mentioning this yesterday. Devotees don't just like mock people for not being the ideal. Devotees are compassionate, tolerant, and loving. They just see your shortcomings and they encourage you. They fan your spark and try to bring you closer. And in doing so, you start to see your own shortcomings. I think a lot of people have this when they come to a holy place surrounded by holy people. They start to feel some like ugliness in themselves. Like I've been parading my ego around and it becomes ugly. And this is the beautiful part of self-realization is we start to realize what we thought was the self was just me flexing like a proud peacock. Huh? Just like a proud peacock.
Yeah.
Not a Vrindavan peacock, right? We heard this beautiful story. Even the Vrindavan peacocks, they are not proud. They offer their feathers to Krishna when they molt. They offer their feathers to Krishna, and Krishna takes those feathers and uses their pride, and they use their pride in service of Krishna so he can take their feathers and put them in his hair.
You know, we heard another good thing from when we were in a class at Govardhan Hill, where they were talking about surrender to Krishna and about how like our real position is like a little child in their mother's arms, and that we're insignificant but valued. And I thought that was like, that really stuck with me, that phrasing of it.
Nice. Insignificant
But
but
valued.
valued. Because part of our sickness in the brokenness of Kali Yuga is, here are these guys now telling me I'm insignificant. I don't need to hear that. I already hate myself.
Yeah.
We
Like,
live.
why
in a
even
world-
bother? Why even try if I'm so insignificant?
I need someone to tell me you can do it. You're God. You're powerful. That's why people love these type of religions, these impersonalist religions. You're the God. You should be jumping on the altar. You can do anything. You just got to dream it. It's all at your fingertips. You just got to
manifest.
You just got to manifest it. You have a scarcity mentality. You need more abundance in your life. Yeah, I get that. But we're insignificant. But we're insignificant. Here's the caveat. Here's the fine print. But you're valued. You actually have worth when you're connected. If I pop out a key of this computer or a typewriter, say, or take the carburetor out of a car, in one sense, when it's separated from the whole, that carburetor is useless. But when I put it in the machine, now it has a very useful purpose. Our worth comes from serving the center, not from trying to extricate ourselves and say, look at me, I'm the center. No. Prabhupada used the example, which is very beautiful too. He goes, no matter how beautiful your hand is, if you sever it from the body, it becomes ghastly, right? So the hand, in service to the mouth, nourishes the entire body. The hand is useful to serve the mouth. So we find our service and we find our significance. The hand has a significance to the body. The carburetor is a service to the car. The key to the typewriter has a service to the computer or the typewriter. And we have our service in relationship to God. And that's where we find our richness, our joy, our connection. I want every day to know what my purpose is. I want a purpose-driven life in service of divinity. And then all of a sudden, I am not the center, but I'm part of fulfilling something much greater than myself. And I don't think of myself worthless. I don't think of myself worthless. I think I have some worth because I want to do worthy work in this world, or I want to contribute to something worthy. Otherwise, we live in a world where people are worthlessness is epidemic. Self-loathing is epidemic. Then we have to ask ourselves, do we have a spiritually purpose-driven life?
All right. Should I continue with the purport?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that was great stuff. Materialistic scientists think that although this planet, Earth, is full of opulence, all others are vacant. Because they simply speculate, this is their scientific conclusion. But from the Bhagavatam, we understand that the entire universe is full of living entities everywhere. Thus, it is the folly of the scientists that although they do not know anything, they mislead people by presenting themselves as scientists, philosophers, and men of knowledge.
What good is like scientist bug? The scientist, like imagine, because let's face it, there's probably some bugs that are smarter than other, just like there's some dogs that are smarter than other dogs, especially if you train the dog. You know, certain dogs can do things like tell if your blood sugar's low, and they will wake you up. They can sniff it in your body. My friend Millard used to train dogs for diabetics who can know when their blood sugar's low.
Wow.
Like that's an intelligent dog.
Yes.
Right? What to speak of, dog tricks and things like that. So there's some animals that are smarter. But what good is a dog scientist, the smartest of all dogs, if in fact what do dogs do that are dumb? You know,
Eat.
they can be distracted by just like if you offer it food. Like sometimes people break into houses by giving the dog who's trying to attack them some food, and then the dog gets appeased. You know, if we can't control our mind or sense, or here's a better idea: the dogs, they say, can only see in black and white. So then, what good is the most intelligent dog if he can still only see in black and white? You still can't explain the color orange to the dog. It's beyond his perception. So we have scientists who said, yeah, well, we're trying to understand this, phenomenal world. You can't. You can only understand it to the degree that your senses allowed you to see it. There's still a limitation of the human senses. We're missing out on senses that can perceive objective reality.
Yeah. All right. Text 62.
I should just let anything to just keep going. Keep going.
No, you're on a roll today.
You're ranting today, Raghu.
It's on topic though, so it's allowed.
None of ours are squirrels. It's like I need Kostuba to squirrel, I think.
I think you can pause on reading the chat board though. Can I go back to the text?
Yeah, okay. You can. Can I read the chat board while you read the text?
No, you can't. After text 62.
Can't I read the chat board anymore?
No, you can read it after the show. That's what Kostuba does,
Okay.
Text 62.
Kostuba does this. Kostuba does that.
After seeing this, Lord Brahma hastily got down from his swan carrier, fell down like a golden rod, and touched the lotus feet of Lord Krishna with the tips of the 4 crowns on his heads. Offering his obeisances, he bathed the feet of Krishna with the water of his tears of joy. People see these rituals like bowing down for someone, like Americans don't like that at all. We don't bow down for anybody. Someone told me once, we don't bow. What's all this bowing down? What's with bowing down? First of all, respect is a nice thing. You can agree with that. Everybody can agree with having respect for a person who's qualified to offer respect to. Or you meet someone you don't know, or you meet like an elderly person who's very wise, or a teacher. You want to give them respect. What shows more respect than putting your physical frame on the earth? It's like almost like a very elaborate ritual. But with rituals, there's also there's something about the physical act of putting yourself lower than another person. I think because it makes you so vulnerable. It makes you vulnerable. You know what I mean? That's especially I think about it like we go into a temple, we bow down, but it's like all these people are around. And it's sort of like am I going to get trampled? Like, are they going to trip over me? Like that's my head down here. Be careful. I can't remember if it got in my book or not, if it was cut out. I think it was in my book when I did the Dandavat Prikram. That's the bowing down. That's definitely around Radhakund and Shamakund. And I remember just as soon as I laid myself on the earth, I was like, what is going on? People are driving by in a rickshaw. There's a dog walking by, a pig, a dirty pig who lives in the open sewers. And I was just like, this is so humiliating. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I want. I want to be low. I want to be in such a low position. I can start to develop respect. Of course, I didn't. At first, I start to struggle. I started to think, why do I have to do this stuff? Why do I have to do this dumb ritual? Does this mean I'm more humble, or does this mean I'm just dirty? Does this mean like I'm going to let a dirty pig near me? Does this mean I'm going to let that mangy dog near me? What you more spiritual, or what? These people are just having a conversation here, and I'm like at their feet. This is embarrassing, and you never realize that how much ego goes into just being you. The way we dress, ego. The way we comb our hair, ego. Put our face together, ego. The jewelry, the clothing we wear, the cars we drive, the house we live in, the way we decorate our house, the paintings we put on our wall. Everything is a manifestation of our ego, and that's why monks in any tradition in the universe, any tradition, they all have this thing where like I'm going to live with nothing. I'm going to not even, practically speaking, look at my face anymore. I'm going to cut off all my hair. I'm just going to let the hair grow wild because I'm so sick of being owned 95% of the day by my ego and be overly concerned about what people care for me. How exhausting is that? All right. Should I do the purport?
Yeah.
Or should we get to takeaways? Yes, you're reading the message board.
Yeah. It's so.
I do like what
Amy
you
Steller says it's so bizarre to non-devotees, especially in public places. The fact that like devotees, my good friend Sachi Sutta Prabhu, who runs a massive business.
He has every reason to have at least like a little bit of arrogance, and he's got
zero arrogance, but it's
humble.
not just that. His business was getting so big. I remember went to see him for the first time. I haven't seen him in a while, and went into his office. And what is his office? And I know he deals with other high-level executives, and he's just like got his desk, practically speaking, on the floor, and everything is just so simple. And like when you see very, very just high echelon people, even in India, they just sit on the floor. They sit on the floor. They eat their food on the floor. They talk on the floor. There's no arrogance or air about them. Whereas it's almost like we want the accoutrements of great wealth. Even like very wealthy people, I've seen them just like sleep in public places in India. Like we would never throw ourselves on the floor like that. I don't know what it is. It's a cultural thing, or it's a humility thing, or it's I don't know.
I think we're going to have to save this purport for tomorrow because we're out of time.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for some takeaways?
Eating with the hand also can be like humility. I love the fact that it's part of our culture because I eat with my hands, even when people think, "What are you doing eating with your hands?" I was like,
"You do on a regular basis."
I do. Yeah. The beard is also a great strainer for food as well, catcher of food to save for later.
Arrogance and self-centeredness repels divinity.
Oh, yes. Arrogance and self-centeredness repels divinity. Knowledge and truth.
And we can choose to be better, not bitter.
Better, not bitter. That's our choice today.
Beware that pride follows self-improvement.
Yeah. Pride follows self-improvement. And pride's older brother is hate. Because then you start like that. I just made it up. Pride's older brother is hate. It just means as we get proud, we start to despise other people who don't accept my strength.
One heck of a family, says Aaron Erskine.
One heck of a... Oh, yeah.
Pride and his older brother hate.
Yeah. Henry says the richest man in India eats on the floor with his family. Yeah.
When we're humble, Krishna uses us in service.
When we're humble, Krishna uses us in service. Yeah, he does.
Surrender to Krishna. Don't try to measure Krishna.
Surrender to Krishna. Don't try to measure Krishna. That was Prabhupada's takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're insignificant, but valued.
I love that statement. We're insignificant, but valued. That is a tattoo, my friends. Sarah Ditto, tattooist. Lubbock, Texas. Tattoo that on somebody today. Sometimes people go into tattoo shops and say, I don't know what I want. Just say, sit down. I got something.
I got something for you.
I'm insignificant but valued. That's not what I wanted.
Our worth is in our connection to divinity.
Our worth is in our connection to divinity. Or what I like to say is our worth is our contribution. You like that?
I do.
Write it down. Let that be a takeaway.
Okay. For tomorrow. Bow down and don't be owned by your ego.
Bow down, mister. Great song and great takeaway. Yep. Bow down, mister. Like, come on, mister. I love Boy George. Yeah. I got a feeling me and Boy George would be great friends.
I think he'd like you a lot.
I think he'd like me. I dance. I sing. I dress funky. Right. Not as funky as him.
Devotees are compassionate, tolerant, and loving.
Devotees are compassionate, tolerant, and loving. Thank you, Henry. Hare Krishna.
And what good is a dog scientist if they can only see black and white?
Thank you very much, people. Remember to sign up for the Ray Raghunath Cappo, CAPPO. WhatsApp channel. And we're going to start doing classes there. Looking forward to that Nectar of Instruction class. And I'm going to try to make this not for like devotees who've been living in the temple and real practical stuff to apply to our life. This Hare Krishna 2.0 is very important because we're dealing with people who don't have that background of perhaps growing up in India with that culture under the belt, or just like they're enmeshed in the material world with family. When we were young, it was just like 18 years old, 17 years old, people just moving into the ashram, and then we have to figure out how this stuff makes sense in an ashram. This will be taught for the broken, dented cans of this world. I hope you like it. That's how we're going to teach. Thanks for everybody for joining us live. Please tell friends to join us live. If you're hearing this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, join us live on Zoom. On Zoom. You can join us live, then we can see your beautiful little face. And I know all these people out there.
And we'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m., right?
Back tomorrow at 7 a.m. We have another class, Sans Kastuba Prabhu, who's on his way to India right now. Wish him well. Thanks, everybody who listen every day, because I feel like I have good people in my life. Community has grown to something more than I ever expected it to be. And I've met so many wonderful people.